Okay, welcome back to the channel, and you guys have requested it, so I am doing it. But this has the potential to be the most controversial video on my channel. To date, I would have to say that my Kamado Joe versus WSM low and slow pork shoulder video is probably the most controversial. If you've read through the comment section of it, I'll leave it linked up here if you want to have a read. It's quite divisive, but this one has the potential to trump that hands down. So we're talking cooked breakfast. Now, in many parts of the UK and Ireland, they are very different things, and people get a little bit protective over what exactly is involved in their breakfast. Today, I'm going to do my version of an Ulster Fry. Ulster Fry is typically a little bit different to a full Irish or a full English. I know Scotland do it a little bit different. I'm sure Wales do it a little bit different too. Some things are very similar, but I'm going to point out the two things that I think are different for an Ulster Fry. But regardless of what I say, you guys are going to have it out in the comment section, so I'm interested to hear what your thoughts on it are. What's different from each region? Does it matter, or the bits about other regions that you prefer? Could get interesting. But this is what we're doing today. So this is enough for two people, in my opinion. I could easily have cooked a huge big breakfast, but there's no need for it. There's only two of us here at the minute. Kids are away, so this is just for us to enjoy. So let's start off with the things I think are similar. We have bacon and sausages are very common. Now, to me, any UK or Irish breakfast is not done with streaky bacon, it's done with back bacon. It can be smoked or unsmoked, however you prefer. Sausages typically are pork, they can be beef. I prefer pork. I think pork are more common. Again, chip in below if you think any different. Then we come to the puddings. So we have black pudding and white pudding. Black pudding is also known as blood pudding because it's made with dried pig's blood. But it's a mixture of like rusk and pork fat, and there's loads of seasonings in there as well. It sounds horrible, but it is delicious. If you can get over the fact of what's in it and taste it, you'll never go back again. White pudding is very similar, there's no blood in it, hence it doesn't have that colour. And then eggs, you can scramble them, you can poach them, you can do whatever you want. To me, cooked breakfast is fried eggs. Now, I'm not protective over it. If you want to do something different, crack on, do what you want. But I'm just talking about traditions here. Now, there are a couple of things missing from this tray, and it's purely because I don't like them, and that's fried mushrooms and fried tomato. Typically over here, if you do get a fry up, you will get fried mushrooms or tomato on the side of it. I don't enjoy them. If I was putting them on, I would have been cooking them purely for the photos, and then they would get thrown in the bin, because that's where they belong in my opinion. Especially for a breakfast. But I think those are traditionally on most cooked breakfasts across the UK and Ireland. So then we come to the bread, and this is where I think that the Ulster Fry is different to any other, and that is we have potato bread or fudge. So this is like a potato pancake kind of thing. I know Scotland sometimes have potato pancakes. I'm not sure if it's exactly the same thing, but we maybe will make this on the channel sometime. I'd quite like to do it. I usually done on the griddle, so it'll be a nice one to try. But it's potato bread. This is the nicest stuff when it's fried. That is one difference. I don't believe that isn't in any of the other regions. Then soda bread. That's another one that I think is the Ulster Fry versus any other region. I believe most of the other regions will have toast of some shape or form, or it's fried or not, I don't know. To me, this is where the fry up differs. I don't like toast in my fry up. Give me soda bread and potato bread. Usually 75% potato bread to 25% soda bread. But this is what I think makes up the perfect Ulster Fry. You can add in them other bits if you want. Once you start going into the area of beans, that's definitely a cooked English breakfast. Once you go into adding any kind of potato to it, hash browns, fried potatoes, any of that kind of stuff, that is leaning possibly English, more American, I feel. But this is the most political I've ever got on this channel, and the most political I will ever get on this channel. But anyway, we're going to cook it. So the griddle is fired up. I've kind of set it low to medium. I don't want any of this to go on super hot. We're not looking to get crusts really on anything. We just want the bacon to sort of slowly cook and nicely render down. Same with the sausages. We don't want them to scorch on one side. Your bread does need to be relatively hot, so we'll maybe crank up one of the burners towards the end just to do it off, but the rest of it really doesn't need massive searing heat. So we'll move over to the griddle now and we'll start it cooking off. This isn't so much a tutorial. I haven't actually done a breakfast on it yet, so this is kind of a learn with me video. Can't go wrong, can it? I should have mentioned there is one bit of prep we need to do, and that is with our potato bread and our fudge. They do not cook in whole pieces. We tend to cut these into little triangles. Tastes better for triangles, don't do them any other way, don't listen to anybody. So just line them up, run your knife down through them. Should look like that. Soda bread the same. Then for this, we're just going to cut it in half as well. That way they'll soak up the kind of fat stuff off the griddle. Tastes good. Now we can cook. Alright, cooking in the griddle. Oil bottle is going to be our best friend. So we're going to go on with our meat first. So our bacon, sausages, black pudding, white pudding. Like any gas grill, the griddle is going to have hot spots. Our burners are kind of focused in the centre, so all along this middle, temperature wise, we're looking at about 250, pretty even on both sides. Again, we're setting a bit medium on the burners. Out towards the edges, we get down to kind of 210-ish. Slightly cooler at the front, maybe about 190. So we can kind of use those to our advantage. I'm going to turn one of them right the way down, so we'll maybe keep this right hand side as our cooler side. This is our slightly hotter side. So I'll go on here with the sausages and stuff. The bacon I'm going to push over this side. I just think that's want it slightly cooler for the bacon. So I'm going to put a tiny little drizzle of oil down on both sides. We'll get the fat out of the bacon anyway, but then our sausages. A little bit more oil. And on with our black pudding. Then our little slices of white pudding. Now we keep an eye on that. We're going to let it tick away slowly, kind of grill down, start to crispy up before we flip anything over. And once we get a nice bit of colour, we'll flip it all back over again. Right, everything is cooking along nicely. Our bacon, you can see we flipped it once. This was the bacon that was more in the centre, again over that hot spot. These slices were further up here, so you can see the kind of colour difference in them. So I'm going to try and keep things more towards the centre, just to keep nice even cooking. But since we flipped them over, they aren't cooking crazy hot, and that's why we're kind of getting this nice rendered fat colour, which is exactly what we want. It's kind of caught up on this side here. As far as everything else, again, we're probing for temperature. All our sausages are ready. White pudding's good. Black pudding is good. Awesome crust on that black pudding, which is what we want. So our meat we can take off, and then we can go with our bread and eggs. Again, they don't take very long to cook, so the meat can kind of keep warm in the meantime. Right, so crank the burner on this side up to high. We have a good amount of fat already on here. We're just going to add a little bit of extra oil. The secret to bread is to have plenty of oil on your surface. You do not want this sticking. Plus it absorbs so much of it. And now that's done, we can go ahead and add on our triangles of soda bread and potato bread. So those really won't take long. They do kind of absorb up that hot oil and fry off. So if you do need to, grab your oil bottle, don't be afraid to add a little bit in between each, and it'll kind of go down in between it, keep it frying. Okay, after a few minutes we can flip it over. We want a light golden brown colour, we don't want this to go black at any point. Again, just top up your oil as you need it. Stop the griddle drying out. And those can come off now, go into the tray while we get our eggs ready. Okay, let's talk eggs, because this is where the breakfast could be made or broke. We're going to do these over, this is more towards the back right hand corner where the bacon was done. Add a little bit more oil onto it. This side is on low. We want the whites to set up whenever we put them on, but we do not want them to start frying and popping. Not the end of the world if they do, we're just going to have crispy eggs. Right, let's give one a go. Crack it on a flat surface. And it out. And it's bubbling. But I think it'll cool down fast enough, it's not going to go too bad. Try and get another one on there beside it. I'm just going to pop a cloche over the top of them to kind of beg them off a little bit, kind of trap some heat underneath it. Alright, let's take a look. I think the whites are nicely cooked off. They're not stuck, which is an absolute bonus. Now, I just need to get them off in one piece. I'm going to double spatula this. Do you know what? That wasn't too bad. Right, let's go again. A little touch of oil. Back on with the cloche and let them fry away. Right, those have had a few minutes. Look good to me. Time to plate up. Right, it's all done. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out for a first breakfast cook. Eggs are always the big test, and I'm happy with how they came out. Maybe a little bit colour, let them go. Might need to get some egg rings, might help out a little bit. Sausages weren't perfect, black pudding perfect, bacon awesome. The bread has turned out brilliant too. Nothing worse than burnt bread for a fried breakfast, so I'm happy with how that's gone. So add to this what you will. You can add, I'm not even going to start the debate of red sauce versus brown sauce. I don't take either. As long as there's a few egg yolks in there, I'm happy enough. Usually I'll break the eggs over the top of the bread. That kind of softens everything up, and then everything else just gets added together. So let battle commence. Get into the comments section. Let me know how you would do your breakfast. Where are you from? What's traditional? What's not traditional? Be kind to each other. No slagging off. This is all a bit of fun, but I want to know what you think. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.